The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
Hey everyone, Kevin here. Before we get to this evening's show, we do want to take a quick moment to thank all of our amazing Patreon producers over at patreon.com/makeusbetter. Our executive producers, Mr. Sean Capri, Devin, Tyus, Kyle Haiman, Brendan Myers, Tony Hutchinson, Donnie, Reece, Stephen Iafrate, Caro, Underwood, Dante, Bellini Jr., Kevin Austin, Tammi Ryan, Robert Miller, and David Ray. And then we have our super awesome gold executive producers, Mr. Mark Moody, Edwin Calo, Josh Borbone, Mike BC, and Panache Malloy. And then, of course, our super platinum executive producer, Mr. Corey Hicks over at twitch.tv/chicks_18. Thank you all so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to us, and it helps us keep doing these things that we keep doing and making it better in the process. So we thank you all for listening to this evening's show. And if you want to help support us as well, please check out patreon.com/makeusbetter. But with that out of the way, let's get on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Play Some Video Games, the flagship show of the PSVG podcast network and a proud member of the Make Us Better community. It is I, your host, and joining me this week is the return of the traveling Loborican. I don't know, is that okay?
That was pretty good.
How you doing, man? You've been all over the place, like nonstop. I was shocked when you're like, "Hey, I can do it." I'm like, "You're home?"
Yeah. No, it's been pretty draining. Even getting down, even when I'm home, like I've been like more time on the road than at home for the past like month and a half. And even when I'm home, just kind of like sitting down and playing a game, it's been kind of like something that I have to think about. It's like, do I want to just like passively digest Netflix, or do I actually want to actively achieve something in a video game? I don't know. So yeah, it's been kind of crazy, and I see even actively being on Discord has been hard.
Sure,
because it just makes me want to go play games and makes me want to like just do stuff with the community, and I'm not home. So it's like reading Discord on the road is kind of depressing because it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of sad.
It's a tease. Talking about stuff you can't do right now.
It's a tease, and then when I'm home, I am too tired to even like play. So it's been a weird season for someone that probably plays a lot to not really be that. And at some point you turn off the hunger because it's like, well, I'm not gonna be able to play while I'm on the road for this week, so why even think about it? You know, it's like, but then I end up checking up stories and Polygon, IGN, whatever, you know, just kind of like just to tease myself, but not too much, you know, just enough to make me salivate a little bit, but not too much.
Fair enough. Well, it's good to have you back, man. Hopefully you're home for a bit now and get back to the norm for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But also with us this week, straight from recording a delayed Bored with Video Games this week, is Kyle. Sir, how's life going?
You know, life is great for a couple of reasons. Number one, I get to record a podcast with you and with Lobo, and I never get to record with Lobo, so this is great. Number two, why today is great, I got my I shouldn't say shipping confirmation. I got my update today from the Fireball Island Kickstarter.
Oh,
that
really?
The ships have arrived from China. The games are making their way to the warehouse. So sometime soon, I will have Fireball Island on my table to play, and I'm really stoked about that. So it's been a great day so far.
Dude, that is awesome. I've been following this since you guys were talking about it because I remember that game from back in the day, and I also remember it not being good at all from back in the day. So I'm really hoping that this is as good as it looks, at least. That's awesome. Did you and Josh back this, I think, right?
I believe we both. I mean, I definitely did. I believe he did as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. Can't wait to hear you guys talk more about that. But so with that being said, everybody, let's talk about what we're here to talk about each and every week. And that's a little bit about video games. So let's start with what you playing, brought to you by Flux to Pose. So Q, I know you've been out on the road, you've been traveling a lot, man, but have you gotten any time in to play a little bit? Anything? Tell us about what you've been up to.
I've been primarily playing Blackout, which is the Call of Duty Battle Royale mode. I feel like it's very short. If you die early, you get very short matches, so it's great. And if you stay in it for the long haul, then you get the reward of winning or ending up in the top 10, top 5, whatever. Honestly, I played all the Battle Royales, and so far it's the only Battle Royale game that's really gotten me hooked. I played Fortnite. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome, but it was never the kind of game that I could get hooked into by myself. I see myself playing Blackout like by myself like all the time, and honestly, that's all I've had time to play. Normally, I'm a Siege person, and I get it, but that Siege takes so much focus and energy that I just have me on the road all the time. I just haven't had time to really like have the energy to jump into it. So Blackout is new, and it's just been great. I mean, honestly, like I'm not a Call of Duty person, but I got so many friends that are not Call of Duty people to buy Blackout. It's crazy. Like we're mostly an anti-COD community, like the people that I play with, and suddenly we all own Black Ops 4, and it's really weird what's happening. But we are loving Blackout. It's like the most polished battle royale that we've ever come across, and we really like it. So
it definitely is, and I played the beta for it, so I talked a little bit about it on the show before, and I absolutely loved the Blackout mode too, because in my mind I was like, hey, this is what PUBG should be at this point with the amount of time it's been in development. Like, it's just a better version of all that there. So I'm totally on board with that. But see, you're the people that are the problem, Q. Everyone's supposed to boycott this game because of no campaign and them still charging a season pass and all that kind of stuff. And you went out and bought it anyway, and you don't even like Call of Duty. So it blows my mind, but I can appreciate it. They definitely did a great job of Blackout. I will say that. It looks great. It runs great. I didn't have any problems with it. And I will probably, when it gets to the point that I can get it dirt cheap, I will probably jump in. I am excited to see what Battlefield brings for theirs, for their Battle Royale type mode. And I do have that pre-ordered already with Donnie via our game sharing setup. So I want to see what that's going to be like. But if it's not as good as Blackout is, I will for sure jump in at some point once it's at a more reasonable price, at least for me. Kyle, now, is Blackout at all on your radar, or?
Well, before I answer that really quickly, what is that price for you?
Now see, for me, I'm gonna say 30 or less, and that's only because the regular multiplayer I probably won't even play.
Okay.
I will probably just do the battle royale mode, and I definitely will not be buying a season pass. So I'm not spending that, almost $90 price tag to play Call of Duty. Like, I'm interested in literally just Blackout. If they sold Blackout alone for $30, I'd be in on it right then. But knowing that's not an option, I can't jump in there.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I'm sorry, can I comment on that really quickly? Because that was definitely like, I have a group of like 10 guys, and it's our Siege. That's my Siege community. That's now my Blackout community. And honestly, the biggest kind of like stumbling block was, this is a $60 game, and we're basically buying it for one mode, right? Maybe zombies also, but primarily just Blackout, because we are a competitive, FPS group.
Totally.
It's also a lot of these guys used to be my Destiny clan, but we stopped playing Destiny, so we're kind of like going on to the next thing. And honestly, like, it's crazy. Like, I don't think about those $60. I don't even think about it, because we just want to keep playing round after round after round. And I feel like at some point it's like that. I mean, I don't even think about the money anymore. I think I don't know. I feel like at some point you start thinking about the money, and you're like, I'm just having so much fun with each scenario and each match and each encounter along the way, that I just stop thinking about the money. And I know that's not, that's not a savvy approach to life in general. But when it comes to a game, at the end of the day, if you're enjoying every second of the game, it's kind of like whatever,
No, totally. I can appreciate that. So Kyle, your thoughts then before we jump on to what else we've been playing.
Yeah, I am actually really interested in this game, but I didn't buy it because, despite my extensive history with Call of Duty, I always enjoyed Call of Duty the most when I was playing with friends. I never, ever played Call of Duty multiplayer by myself. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't have as good of a time. Back during Modern Warfare, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, like those generations, I'd come home from work, eat some dinner, probably go to the gym, come back, and then I would just sit down and play COD for 3 or 4 hours with my friends. And that's just what we did every single night. And I think for me, I love Call of Duty. I love the way the game feels. I'm really interested in this game because it looks awesome. The playing in the beta, Blackout seemed like a lot of fun, but I don't have people to play with. Like all of my friends who still play multiplayer games, we play Overwatch together. They have no desire to play Call of Duty again. So for me, I would love to play it. I just would want to make sure I had people to play it with before I picked it up. And I'd even be willing to pay the $60 for it. That doesn't bother me. I just want to make sure I have people to play with.
That makes sense. That's fair. That's fair. All right, so that's all the Q's been playing. I'll jump in a little bit. So as everyone, if you follow the show at all, you should know I've been streaming Prey as part of like playing creepy games in October type thing because it's Halloween time. It's what we do. And I've really been enjoying Prey, and I've been kind of touting it as a good game that people shouldn't have slept on. It was like, the next Dead Space that we missed out on and everything. So, having fun with it. Well, this morning while streaming part 12, I think, of what I was playing, I hit a game-breaking bug where there was a character I needed to obtain a key card off of their body because they're already dead. There's alien spoilers that kill people. And certain things could happen which would trigger the person's body to then fall out of the world, essentially. Like it fell through into the frames of like the walls. And you can't recover that person if that happens. And apparently that happened to me because I was walking around the same area for like 30 minutes trying to find this person. I'm like, they're supposed to be right here. I can't find them. So I look online to find something. And first thing that comes up is like, hey, game-breaking glitch right here during this part of the story. And I watched, I'm like, man, that just happened to me. And the only way to get it back supposedly was to reload the game and start over. But I'm 8 hours plus into the game, and I'm like, I'm not starting this over. So unfortunately, Prey is done with me. But I'm just really surprised that a game that's been out for this long at this point, they haven't patched that. Like, there's not a fix for that. That to me is nuts. And honestly, as a gamer, it's unacceptable. Like, if it's a game-breaking glitch that's been identified, I mean, it's been identified on PC and console too. So it's not like it's just on one platform, and they just left it. So that's a little disappointing. So I put down Prey. I deleted it right off my PlayStation right after that happened. And I'm like, yep, this is done. Moving on to the next game. I did start much to the urging of Donnie there, Life is Strange Season 2, which, once again, if you follow the show, I have been kind of not excited for this game at all because I did play a good portion of Season 1, and it just didn't grab me. It was a little too teenage angsty for me, a little emo for me, and it just wasn't my thing. And I do like walking simulator games. Like I'm into that genre of game. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the narrative, whatever, wasn't clicking for me for whatever reason. And I really didn't like the rewind mechanic, which was, basically a big part of that game. So, but Donnie said, try, the preview to this, the demo that they put out before this, which I played and I really, really liked. He's like, all right, now I'm pre-ordering Season 2. You're going to play it. Okay. So I booted it up this morning. I'm not going to get into any spoilers here, just in case. I know Kyle's going to get to it at some point, and I don't want anybody listening to get it spoiled for them because, let's be honest, these games are all about the story. And I do know not a lot of people have played this game as much as people played the first ones. I'm hoping people don't sleep on it and it turns into another Telltale type situation. But regardless, as the episode of PSVG where Devin and Coach took over for me because I wasn't feeling well, they did talk about how, quote unquote, the main villain of this season is racism. And I will say, this is not a spoiler because it's already been out there. Well, I mean, I guess it is technically a spoiler, but it's been all over the internet there. It definitely is. And for me, the way it's portrayed instantly made me kind of roll my eyes. And I'm not going to pretend that I can relate to what the characters are going through because, hey, I'm a white dude. I can't say I've been through this. I know what this is like. So I'm not framing it that way at all. But the way the racism is portrayed, like right off the bat, not even with words per se, it's just really, it's what's wrong with this country now. And the last thing we need to do is highlight this type of thing again. Like, to be honest, like that, it's a problem in today's society as it is. And it was just done in the most stereotypical Donald Trump-esque way possible, and it just kind of made me roll my eyes. But I'm still playing. I'm interested. I want to see where the narrative goes. The second thing I struggle with, which Donnie apparently had no issue with whatsoever because he kind of messaged me about it, was parenting in this game. So obviously you play the role of kids, which is the same as it was in the first one. But the way the parent is portrayed in this game made me think I'm an amazing parent, which I don't want to say I am, but if like this is how it's portrayed and this person, quote unquote, and like other characters commented that, hey, at least your dad cares about you. And then I meet the dad and we have interactions with the dad. I'm like, this does not seem accurate at all. And it made me feel terrible as a parent saying, like, is this the normal? Is this what kids do? And that instantly gets me worrying about my now teenage daughter who's turning 15 in December. And I'm like, these characters are 16 in this game. This is awful. I don't want to be dealing with this. So basically, I'm not poo-pooing on the game. Just the game makes me feel bad about myself is basically what I'm saying so far. So I do urge Kyle when you get a chance to play it so you can kind of know a little bit more about what I'm saying, but it just made me feel bad as a person, I think, ultimately.
Well, I promise when I play it, I will do my best to diminish the experiences of people who I cannot relate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
But it's just, you're like, oh, I'm just, and it's early in the game too, that the quote unquote racism moment that it makes it the villain. You just kind of look at you like, really? This is what we're doing? Okay.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, it could be legit. I'm not. I don't.
Oh no, it could be very legit. But let's be honest. I mean, there's games that tackle issues like this now,
right?
And they've done, and I've seen games that do it, and they do it spectacularly,
right?
This game does not at all. Okay. And it like literally sets the bar at a new low, which I'm like, oh man, I was excited to play this game. I told him to jump in. He was so excited about it. He says he loves episode 1. And right off the bat, I'm like, that first portion, maybe 15, 20 minutes of it, I want to say, I just messaged him right after. I'm like, so I started Life is Strange season 2, WTF. And he just writes back, he goes, isn't it great? And I'm like, I have some concerns. But it's not about the game. The gameplay is fine. I'm not getting any glitches. It's not Telltale like that fashion. It's just kind of the way the narrative is done to me. It kind of like, oh man, I don't want to live this, but it's all good. Playing it anyway.
It helps. This makes me want to play it more.
Yeah. I want you to at least. I mean, there's only one episode out, so if you get it, it's all you can play. So, yeah, it's all good. But the one I do want to talk about here, and this is on your list too, Cal. So like I'll start off and then we'll pass off to you, and you just go right into what you've been playing. You kind of urged me because I've been watching this game for a while. I did reach out for a review code of this game when it launched. We didn't hear anything back, and I kind of put it aside. And then it came up on sale, and Wario tweeted about it. I was like, I'm interested in this game again. And then you tweeted at me, hey, you should buy this game and we'll play it together because it looks weird, and we haven't done weird games in a while since Virginian Jazz Punk, which came up in my Facebook memories not that long ago when we did that review from like 2 years ago. So that's Donut County. So you talked about it a little bit on Board with VG, and Josh played with it. Josh played it as well. And I will say I love what Josh said because it very much is Katamari-esque. As he said, he goes, if that's not a term, it's going to be now. And I agree with that 100%. That's literally how I pitched it to my middle daughter. I told her, it's like, hey, you should really check this out, play it for a little bit. I think you'll like it. She's like, well, what's it about? And I'm like, well, I've seen you play this mobile game called Whole IO or something like that it's called. And it's basically the same premise. And you move the hole around, you suck up everything around. And Katamari Damacy. And she's like, well, that sounds weird. And she played and she's like, I like this game. And I don't think she's beaten it yet, but she's pretty far along. I did beat it last night. I will say for the price point that we got it on sale at, it's good. I like it. Same struggles as you had before, saying like, hey, I know this was a mobile game. I don't want to spend $20 on a mobile game on my console. I agree with that 100%, but the price we paid for it, I like it. It's a very funny game. It's well written. It does make me sad, as you commented too, that Josh kind of didn't pay any attention to the narrative because I think you missed some of the charm and the oddities in the story. But yeah, it's really fun. For those of you that maybe didn't listen to Board with Video Games, what this game is basically you're following the story of a raccoon named BK, and I forget the name of the person. But basically the premise is you create these holes, and it's exactly what you imagine. There's a hole in the ground, and your objective is to basically absorb everything into this hole. And as you pick up things, your hole gets bigger. So like Katamari Damacy, when you rolled stuff up, your Katamari got bigger and you could pick up bigger things. The hole gets bigger and you're able to swallow up bigger things. And you go through these very small stages one by one. They each take like 5 minutes at the most, I would say, to get through these stages. But there's a little bit of puzzling aspect. It's not just simply as like, oh, just move the hole and have everything fall in. There's different things you need to do and trigger. There's catapults involved. There's like water and fire and different elements you get involved in too to make things happen so you can get every piece into you're a hole in the ground. But the narrative is very funny, watching the repercussions of all these holes in Donut County and what happens with the group of people that are all banded together due to this. So I'm not going to give away the ending for Kyle because he's not quite there yet. But I do really like it. And I know Daniel was asking in our Discord about it. He wanted to know my thoughts on it because he has played on mobile. Dude, I like it. Kyle knows the weird games I would like, it seems, so which I love. This was a great call. I'm very happy with it. It's not a must-play game for everybody, for sure, but if you like the weird, quirky things that we seem to like every now and then, it's a solid game. And at the price it is right now, it's very good. It's very fair, I think, at this point. So, Kyle, your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Donut County. I think it's interesting you brought up Hole.io because when that game came out, Ben Esposito, who made Donut County, got really upset and let people know that he was very upset because that came out, not long after Donut County, was starting to get some traction. It wasn't out yet, but people were starting to see it, starting to see what the game was about. Oh, and then here comes this free-to-play game on, the App Store that seems very mechanically similar to what Donut County is.
Totally.
But I really like it. I think that, I think actually the story is really quirky. It's really funny. It's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. I really like the art direction and style that they're going for. It's definitely not, make your eyes bleed clarity of 4K HDR stuff, but it's nice to look at. And I think that the humor hits a good chord with me. And it's a really good, if you're just looking for a way to chill out at the end of the night, this is a great game to play. It's not super long. I'm surprised I didn't finish it in one sitting. That was my goal, and I just haven't quite gotten back to it yet. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Donut County. And like I said, my only concern was the price. Not that I don't think Ben Esposito's work is worth it. It's just really frustrating when you see a game for $3 on the App Store, and then when you look at the console, it's $15, and it's like it's the exact same game. But yeah, I'm really happy with our decision to go with it. And like I said, I will definitely finish it before next week. Looking forward to the conclusion of the story of Donut County. That is for sure.
So what else have you been playing then?
Yeah,
you have a game that I've played as well too on there. So
yeah, so other things I've played a little bit since I was on the podcast, and I won't go too long into any of these just because we have a lot of fun stories I think to talk about this evening. Overcooked 2 took some time. I think I may have talked about this very briefly when I was on last time. I think I just started it. Overcooked 2, have not downloaded the expansion or anything for it at this point, but have gone through the main game, the base game, 3-starred everything, including all the Kevin levels. So that is all taken care of, ready to go. Nice. Kind of want to get the platinum in it before I finish things out. So got to go wash some dishes for fun and got to go throw some food around for fun just to finish up some of the trophies there. But Overcooked 2, if you're looking for a great couch co-op and you enjoyed the first Overcooked, it's awesome. I think I was listening to an interview with the developers of it. I think I can't remember if they said China or Japan in one of the places, like what they refer to the game as is just
Divorce Kitchen. Yeah, I said that on one of the podcasts. Yeah, I saw it.
So Divorce Kitchen. Yep. I'm still married. I guess that's good.
Yeah.
So, and we together have gotten 3 stars on anything. So Overcooked 2, definitely awesome. One game I want to spend, a little time spotlighting it and making sure it's getting its due is actually a PSVR game, and that's Astrobot Rescue Mission. This came out actually, I think the same week as Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And obviously it's a PSVR game, so it's not getting a ton of attention, but this game is amazing. It is a platformer, a third-person platformer in VR. I think a lot of people, when you think of VR, right away jump to the idea of playing a game in first person. All of my favorite VR games, I think almost all of my favorite VR games are third-person games. I really like third-person games in VR, and this is just another one that works extremely well. And really, it's a Mario game in VR. But it's exceptional. Not that Mario games aren't exceptional. But it's really, really good. I'm loving my time with it. I think that if this was, and I said this on Board with Video Games, if this was a Nintendo game, people would be going nuts about it. They would be talking about how great it is, how amazing it is, how good the platforming is, how cute it is, how good the animation is. They'll be going nuts over it. But because it's not getting a lot of hype, I don't think, and also it just came on a really busy time of year. This game is easily, unless something significantly changes in the next 2 months, easily going to be in my top 5 games of the year. This game is exceptional. So if you have PSVR, I think it's a must purchase if you have the system. If you don't have the system, there is a bundle that has Moss and Astrobot. When Black Friday comes around, and if you're interested and that bundle's on a good sale, you're going to be getting 2 of the best games on the system along with the system. So something to consider if you're potentially interested in PSVR. And really, PSVR has had a great fall. I mean, there's Borderlands 2 coming out in December. If it's good, who knows what will happen. Astrobot, and then Beat Saber's still supposed to come out. Like, if it keeps and then Tetris Effect. And if that game is living up to, you know, what the previews say, and if, you know, we already know Beat Saber has been great on the other platforms it's been released on, like, PlayStation VR could have a really solid fall for those who have it. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. Finished up Spider-Man, got the platinum in that. Really looking forward to the DLC dropping next week. I like it a lot. I don't think I like it necessarily as much as everyone else at PSVG does, which is kind of interesting since I'm like one of the PlayStation people. But I enjoy it. Had a great time with it. Like I said, got the platinum, so obviously enjoyed it that much. We'll make my top 5 list. We'll make my top 5 list more than likely.
Right.
But I still like God of War better. Probably even Astrobot's going to be above it, as well as potentially this last game, which is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think I definitely like this much better than you and Donnie do.
I liked it. The only thing I said is I want to play it on a console and not through Project Stream because I don't like sitting at my computer unless I'm podcasting. That's kind of the thing I do. I totally want to play it. I want to get it when it's on sale. I'm definitely playing it 100%. I had no problem. Donnie in open world doesn't always work. It worked with Far Cry, but generally speaking, he's not big into those.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 15 hours in. Really enjoying my time with this game. I really liked Origins last year. So I think it is definitely taking Origins and kind of pumping it up to the next level, basically. If Origins had never come out last year and just this game came out this year, I think it would have really blown people's minds. I know there are some concerns about people have gotten to the point of saying, is this even an Assassin's Creed game anymore? Like, you're way before the Assassin's Order. You don't have a hidden blade. Like, is this even Assassin's Creed anymore? And I think that's kind of, you know, potentially a reasonable thought or argument if you really like the style of those old games and you want that style back. I also think of it from the perspective of, we always talk about, we want games to change and we want them to evolve and we want them to do different things, and that's what they're doing. So I think that's a good thing. And I definitely I've played basically every Assassin's Creed other than Rogue. So I definitely have a lot of history with the franchise, and for me, this one is definitely up there in the top 3, maybe number 1. And always, you know, Black Flag Origins, and this one, definitely the top 3 Assassin's Creeds for me. I really like how they've progressed with the systems and how they've progressed with the game. So yeah, that's kind of what has been on my play rotation for the last few weeks.
Awesome.
I love to meet the people that are like, oh, this is not Assassin's Creed anymore. Oh no. Because I'm like, man, like, be happy that if you're passionate about an IP that is evolving with dignity and honor and not like catching radiation and dying, you know, it's like I would love for so many IPs to be at a place where Odyssey is right now than to be in places where other franchises are right now, you know. And look, man, like, there's a reason why it's going in this direction. People got tired of having the same copy paste gameplay for 5 games. And I have friends that haven't played Assassin's Creed since Black Flag, and now they're picking up Odyssey. You know, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. The fanboys will always pick up the game, but it matters when the people that have walked away come back. And it seems like with Odyssey, and well, starting with Origins and now with Odyssey, you're seeing that, and that's good. That's good. You want that to happen. Good call on Ubisoft on that end. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft, man, I don't know what it is. Like, these last couple of years, I mean, they've always been a big contender in the gaming industry, but these last couple of years, they're really nailing the evolution of some of these franchises. Like, you know, you look at, Watch Dogs 2, which I still tout that one as a great game. That was significantly better than the first one. You look what they've done with Assassin's Creed, and you look at what they're doing with Far Cry. Like, they're getting better and better and better. And it's good. The stuff they're doing with Nintendo, huge hits, like with their stuff there too. And it's exciting, and it's good to see, you know, this continue in this pattern there too. And like I said, I don't have Odyssey now. I just have it through Project Stream, which I probably won't play that much because as of like January, I lose that. I do want to get the game on console, and I have not played Origins yet. I do have it via Game Share, so I'm going to go play that now because this game got me excited for that. I know Odyssey supposedly is tweaked, it's a little bit different, but I know it's closer than playing, let's say, Black Flag again, which I also was a huge fan of. So I'm with you there, Kyle, there too. Like, that was my favorite Assassin's Creed up to now. Now playing these new ones are very different. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. The people that want to stay the same really kind of need to reevaluate that, because people were complaining that Assassin's Creed every year would come out and there was so many glitches and stuff like that. So they took time with this, the Origins engine, and kind of rebuilt it and said, this is what this game is going to be. They tweaked it a little bit more for Odyssey, and now they already said, like, hey, next year there's not going to be one. You're going to wait another time off, and then we're going to come back. So I expect, again, to be another evolution, another jump in what Assassin's Creed does. And I'm fine with it. The whole Hidden Blade thing, that doesn't bother me that much. The only thing that kind of to me was like, well, it's a little weird, but I also haven't played Origins, and I guess some of that is in that too, is the whole introduction of mythology into it, where it's like, hey, you're going to fight these creatures and things that did not ever exist, where Assassin's Creed used to kind of be semi-historical a little bit.
But if you remember, like, the modern storyline of Assassin's Creed,
right?
I mean, I don't want to spoiler alert 10 years later. I mean, but there was this modern story of like these ancient gods that were actually just very powerful beings that humanity, I don't know, that they died in this like apocalypse kind of event. So for me, like that's why the mythology wasn't that weird, because I feel like there's always been this like magical element to Assassin's Creed, or even maybe a little bit of sci-fi element to it.
Sure.
Where like gods are actually like powerful ancient aliens, basically, in a way.
That's a great point. Thank you.
So
for
me,
that up.
when those stories came up, I was like, oh, but I thought that's always been there. It's just never been like the main, like in the ancient. You never seen it in the ancient storyline, but it's been there in the modern storyline.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
I think, and just to build off that really quick, you have the pieces of Eden or the apples of Eden. Like that alone, the fact that you have that thing in the game makes almost everything possible, really.
You're right. So anybody who says otherwise, forget you.
Not saying that.
No, that's what Kyle said.
That's not what I said.
And if you have feedback, send it to boardwithvideogames@gmail.com. Anyway, all right, let's move on, guys. It's time to check out each and every week, as we always do, the news of the week.
This week in Play Some Video Game News.
Now, unless you've been living under a rock, there's this little game coming out soon from a very big game developer known as Rockstar, and it features some cowboys and some 6-shooters and some hats.
Man, they're really changing up their table tennis game.
Yes, it's very weird. It's an M-rated table tennis game. Anyway, no, it is Red Dead Redemption 2. It is coming very, very soon at this point. So Rockstar has kind of been in the news because of that and because of some other things. Some things we're going to cover right now, some things later on today. But the biggest one first up, at least, is the file sizes have been released. So now, according to Rockstar Games support website, how much storage space you will need to install this game. So on disk installation, if you're still a physical kind of guy, PS4 is 99 gigabytes. Xbox One is 107 gigabytes of installation space. So clear out those hard drives if you plan on picking up Red Dead 2. You're going to need it. If you're buying it digitally on PS4, it's a 99 gigabyte installation, but you're going to need an additional 50 gigabytes for the installation process to take place. You'll get the space back afterwards, but you're going to need to clear out a whole lot of space. Xbox One, as always, is the typical, just the same digital or physical. It's going to be that 107 gigabytes. So absolutely massive game. For those of you who pre-ordered the game, you'll be able to start the preload process on October 19th at midnight. So actually very soon to when we're recording this right now. I can start preload at my Xbox, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go delete some stuff before I do that. And the second story, before we kind of get you guys' thoughts on it, is some independent game stores are being told they won't get Red Dead Redemption 2 until November. So the official release of the game is going to be October 26th. There's a little small chain of stores in Pennsylvania who the owner had spent like $4,000 on marketing, making his own billboards and flyers to advertise this game and pre-order now. He knows the game's going to sell. Some customers pre-ordered the game 2 years ago from him, but now he knows this advertising is going to draw up more people. The excitement is there. And then he was told by his distributors that he won't get it in the day of release. He'll get it sometime in November. And it's not just him. Getting reports across the country that independent game shops are being told the same thing. Between this specific guy's stores, he has 4 different stores in his chain in Pennsylvania. His customers have pre-ordered more than 1,000 copies. So he potentially just lost $60,000 in lost sales. Where, let's be honest, you want to, games. The biggest thing is the first week sales. That's what everybody kind of talks about. The first week sales. It is what it is. A game like this is super hyped. People are going ape for it already. Like, it's going to be a big, heavy hitter this holiday season. We already know that. If I pre-ordered the game, or even if I didn't pre-order the game, and I just want to walk into the shop and pick it up, and they said, "Oh, we'll have it sometime in November," they're expecting it not to ship before Wednesday, November 7th. So it's going to be a couple weeks after release before they get them. I'm just going to go to Best Buy. I'm just going to go to Target, or I'm just going to go to the store and buy it digitally. And this guy gets nothing. So in this day and age where we're seeing already independent gaming stores basically non-existent at this point, thanks to like GameStop, and we're seeing all these gaming stores now taking away this whole pre-order discount bonus. GameStop stopped theirs, Amazon has stopped theirs, Best Buy still has theirs, but you can't purchase the membership anymore. Like, nobody's doing it anymore, and now we're just giving another disadvantage to the mom and pop shops that you might want to support. But are you going to wait 3 weeks to get that game just to support that one place? Probably not. Even GameFly, the top gaming rental service, they're not getting their disc before this date either. They're considered in that same bracket of distribution. So I'm not sure how much inventory the big hitters, your GameStop, your Best Buys, your Targets, your Amazon have purchased, but apparently it's got to be a significant amount, because if these independent game stores can't get them, there's got to be something going on. We don't see that much nowadays where you can't walk into a store and get a copy of a specific game. It's pretty common now. That's why I talk about pre-orders, for me, have gotten less and less relevant, because back in the day, if you want a certain game, you might have to pre-order it to make sure you even get it. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. I remember Call of Duty a few years ago. Like, you could walk into 7-Eleven and pick up a copy of Call of Duty last time. I'm like, that was nuts. It was literally everywhere. Now you can't walk into virtually anywhere and get Red Dead Redemption 2 unless you're a big hitter. So the combination of stories there, guys, what are your thoughts? Q, let's start with you, because you've been quiet for a bit.
It's weird to me that this would be an issue with some people said that it has to do with like the game leaking early. I don't think that's it. For me, I mean, if there's any legitimacy, it has to do with supply. Apparently, the hard copies are a 2-disc hard copy. So I'm guessing, like, if Call of Duty ships out 100,000 discs on day one, that means that Red Dead is, shipping out 200,000 discs, right? That's I don't know. It's weird. It's a really weird story. The cynical part of me wants to say conspiracy, like Best Buy and GameStop over ordering to control the supply. This is really weird. I feel like, unfortunately, like, at the end of the day, this is the writing on the wall, but I feel like even GameStop has to worry about, like, losing out to digital sales. It's I don't know. I mean, it's kind of sad. I feel like if I was if I knew of a local gaming store, which I don't, honestly, where I live, I would love to support it, because I'm all about, like, I would rather go to the local coffee shop than to Starbucks. Totally. Because I feel like I would rather pay $1 more at this place that is, like, been there for 30 years than to pay for the Starbucks that doesn't need my extra $1,
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I hope their customers are loyal and are willing to stick to it. I feel like Red Dead is a game because there's no multiplayer component to it. There isn't, right? Or
no,
is there like there is?
They're doing like a GTA Online type thing, yeah.
It won't be their day one, though.
No.
Right. I feel like it's one of those things where like I love Assassin's Creed, but I haven't picked up Odyssey because the story is not going to change whether I pick it up now or in 2 months,
Sure.
It's still going to be there. So hopefully it's the kind of thing where, like, they can retain some customer loyalty, because it's not one of those games that if you don't have it day one, suddenly you're not competitive at some level. I don't know, man. I hate saying conspiracy theory, but I hope it's mostly an issue of supply. I mean, it is having it's weird to have a game that's 2 discs nowadays. That's a huge download, right? I mean,
it's nuts.
They should just sell like hard drive. They should just ship it with like a little flash drive.
Plug and play hard drive. Yeah,
plug in your flash drive. I mean, I feel like that would be way cheaper and smarter than sending out 2 discs. I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything. What do I know?
So Kyle, your thoughts on this whole shortage for anybody that's not a big chain right now?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this in the Discord, and I shared my thoughts there a little bit. But I think that, I think for worse, some people think for better, and that's fine. just depending on how you look at the economy and the way the economy works and the way capitalism works, we are consolidating. The places you can get things is decreasing. There's fewer places you can buy things today than there were 20 years ago. And, that as a consumer sometimes has its advantages because right now, at least, prices can be low on things. But eventually, that is not always going to be that way. And that's so I'm kind of with Q on this one in the sense that, there's 3 local game stores by me that sell video games, do all these things that I go to and I try to support as the best I can. And then I try to buy things from them as often as I can because they put money back into our local economy. They employ people from our local economy. Like they're making our place that I live better. So if that means that maybe I don't get the cool pre-order pin that I would have gotten from a chain, I have employed, someone who's giving back to our local economy, which is good. And granted, does GameStop have employees? Yes. Does Target have employees? Yes, they all do. But more of that money stays where I am, which I appreciate. And I try to do that as best I can. But, when you're Amazon and you're Target and you're Walmart and you're able to buy games in bulk and you're a company like Rockstar, who at the end of the day is a business and wants to make the most money, you are going to give the supply to the people who can sell the most of your game. If that's what it is, if it is 2 discs and you can't make enough, well, let's give it to the people we know are going to sell it. And I think part of it's disappointing that they aren't even letting them fulfill pre-orders unless that means they legitimately don't have enough discs to fill pre-orders. Because granted, you're pretty confident somebody walking in off the street is probably going to pick up a copy of the game at Target or Walmart or wherever, or Best Buy. But if you know for sure you've already sold 1,000 of them to this one little chain, why not include that in the group?
Right.
So that's for me is more of the bummer about it. And like the story that I talked about, in the Discord was I used to work at a small chain sporting goods store, and I ran the camping department. And we would get people who would come in and they'd want to buy, they'd be like, hey, I have this flyer for a local Fleet Farm type store that they're selling this cooler. But the cooler that they were selling, it was the same cooler that I carried, but they're selling it for less than it cost me to get it in the store because that company had thousands of stores. It could buy 50,000 coolers, and I bought 5. There's only so much you can do in that situation. It's I can't sell this at this price because I literally make I lose money, So that's the thing. And I think unfortunately for mom and pop shops, it's getting harder out there. And, it's easy to say, well, it's a risk and maybe you shouldn't go into that. But also I think as consumers, we need to be conscientious of what economy do we want to have in 20 years? And if we want to have the economy where it's a few big players, that's fine. Buy it from a big place. If you want to have an economy that's going to support your local people, maybe think about buying local. Just a thought, because, Amazon, it takes way less people. Far fewer people are employed when I buy something from Amazon than if I go to a local store and buy it. So.
And speaking of unemployed, nice segue there, Kyle. Telltale, Skybound Games, which is currently finalizing an agreement with Telltale Games to finish the final season of The Walking Dead, did a Reddit AMA yesterday from when we're recording this, and one interesting segment of this came up, and they're saying right now they hope to release episode 3 by the end of this year and have episodes 1 and 2 back up for sale by the end of this month, according to comments from its CEO. His exact quote is, we'll be back on sale as soon as possible. I hope we can do this by the end of October. The seasons, as we know, they've already been taken down. The episodes were taken down less than 2 weeks after Telltale announced that it had a majority of the studio closed. Episode 3, which was reported, it was nearly complete. They said now the team is expecting it to be out by the end of the year. However, they did confirm, because no deal has been finalized yet, the lawyers haven't signed off on everything, that currently no one is working on any episodes of Telltale Walking Dead. And there's no details of the deal coming out as of yet, which was first announced at New York City Comic Con, that the details are being hammered out. Now, he did state, though, at this stage, he's in discussions with various members of the team that previously worked on this game and hopes to bring them back in to finish the project that they've been working on so diligently. So I think that's a great sign that we're seeing Skybound trying to do the right thing and let these people finish what they started. However, let's be a little bit honest here. Many of these people were let go with 0 severance, Their health coverage expired. They were basically forced to try and find other work. And for those that could, I'm sure they did. And they can't now just walk away for what could very well be a temporary job just to finish The Walking Dead and then let them go. Because let's be honest, Skybound Games is not a mass market AAA studio. Likely the same thing would happen to these people here. Now, interesting story, in Sweden Game Conference this week, Emily Grace Buck, who I've actually had conversations with during the development of the Batman Telltale games. I was actually talking to her back and forth because she wrote a lot of those episodes. She's been super honest about this, and she kind of echoed the same thing I said, where, your work is tied to healthcare in the U.S. She kind of brought up the whole thing we were talking about on our Discord a bit, that, there may need to seriously be a conversation about unionizing game developers for when stuff like this happens to protect them. I'm not a big union guy myself, to be honest, but I am for helping people that want to work and have the desire to work and the capability of working. And it's not like a handout to me. It's more of like, hey, this is an unfortunate situation that happened and it's not your fault. And you may not be able to get into an EA or a Rockstar. Because let's be honest, the game developers, they're not consistently hiring mass quantities of people. They're consistently letting them go. They might inflate with some temp work, during crunch time, which we'll talk about later, to finish games, but they're not often on the payroll 24/7 when there's work going on. That just doesn't happen in this type of industry, unfortunately. And our fearless leader there, Donnie, has said numerous quotes about this. Well, if you don't like it, you can just walk away, which we'll talk again about a little bit later. That's not a realistic thing for a lot of people there too. So she's putting out the call saying that unfortunately she doesn't think a ton of the Telltale folks will come back as much as they might want to finish Clementine's story, only because they just can't do it unless there's some assurances that they can be taken care of once this project's done and not just be let go all over again and have to suffer through this, trying to find work again. We know Ubisoft met with a lot of people, and we're trying to scoop them up, as were a couple of the game studios also put out tweets like, hey, we want your work. We have some stuff for you guys to do. But I think a lot of these folks are going to be very leery walking in because this was something we thought Telltale was fine to, hey, Telltale's shutting down in a matter of weeks. This happened very, very quick. So I think, and I don't blame them at all, they'd be very scared to jump into another situation similar. Kyle, your thoughts?
Well, I know we're going to talk about some of the other stuff later, so I will try to keep it relative to this. I think if they are able to finish this game in a way that it is intended, as far as, really is able to complete the vision that Telltale had for the game, and that they are able to do so in a way that is in some way helpful and respectful to the workers who really got hosed big time, I'm all for that. I think if they can't do that, I don't see a reason to finish the game, but that's just my thoughts. That's fair.
Q, your thoughts? You had some head rolls going on there a little bit, so I'm interested to see where you come out on this one.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you want to talk about unionization or not. The problem we can go to unionization in tech and even in newer industries, right? Is that there's so much subcontracting at multiple levels. Like I have a friend he's Austrian. He works for a subcontracting studio that works for the people that make World of Tanks. Mm-hmm. Right? And years of contracting in gaming development where like you might work 3 studios down from the studio that has a big deal or the big contract.
Sure.
And that makes unionization such. And the thing is that in this industry, it's such a new industry that everyone's trying to make it into it, that you're gonna have these like strike breakers, right? I don't know how, what kind of, there are unions that don't strike. Like for example, like NYPD has union at every rank, and they're not allowed to strike by law because cops cannot go on strike.
Right.
That would be like the purge. So obviously, I mean, it might be a different type of unionization, but I don't know, man. I just feel like if there are people hungry to break into an industry, you're gonna have a hard time unionizing, because I'm willing, if I can break into a AAA studio by getting paid 33% less than what you're making, I may do that, and that at that point that breaks the union, right? As far as like finishing the game, you know what? I say screw it, man. Game wasn't meant to be finished. You know what? Just drop it where it is. Let it be a testament to bad planning or bad. I don't know. Let it be a testament to like, hey man, if I don't know, it's weird, right? Because like Telltale, we like Telltale. I love Telltale. I played so many Telltale games, but it always felt like their products were never polished. Like, so I wonder if there was. I say it again, writing on the wall before we even got there. Like, why is it that I had glitches in the middle of Batman or in the middle of Guardians of the Galaxy or in the middle of Wolf Among Us? Wolf Among Us. I don't know. It just seemed like they were always delivering a product that wasn't. It was like 85% done, but not quite the last 10% or 15%. And I wonder if we didn't realize that they were having a lot more cracks along the way. I'm not attached to the series. I feel like if I was more attached to the series, I would want to see it done. So for the sake of people that do want to see it done, can complete it. That's I would love for them to get closure. But I'm all about getting people employed, right? So if people find opportunity that is more reliable and is more consistent and permanent, then I say, forget this game, So
fair enough. All right. Another good segue you gave me, because speaking of cracks, there's an upcoming video game book coming out. It's on their version of Kickstarter, which is called Unbound. And it's a 160-page illustrated coffee table book all about video game butts. #butts there just for Josh Borbone. So the book is there and is planned to feature 55 original illustrations alongside 40,000 words about gaming's most prominent posteriors. Not really much to say. I just want Josh to go out and pre-order this one. Just video game butts. The name of the book is Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, a series of gaming butt critiques. So go out and check that out, everybody. Other story here that doesn't really require a ton of commentary. I just find it funny that this happens. So Starlink was released this week. And most of the feedback I heard from this game is actually it's pretty good. Not stellar, but better, I think, than a lot of people thought it was going to be, especially for Nintendo fans. They say the Star Fox content certainly adds a lot there. Which we actually got a question emailed in, I believe it was from Paul Calico, asking about what the other consoles were getting to make up for the lack of Star Fox content. And to let you know, Paul, it's absolutely nothing. They just get shortchanged completely. So there's no online multiplayer there in this game. So it's not like Nintendo Switch lost out on that and the Xbox and PlayStation got it. It's simply just there's no Star Fox challenges there. So
I believe what the other consoles get is Red Dead Redemption and Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
And Spider-Man.
And well, only one.
That's right.
And Forza. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what the other consoles got.
Exactly. So it's all fair. But Starlink came out, most of the good news. But the little bit of bad news is a number of Best Buy customers who purchased a copy of Starlink Starter Kit for Nintendo Switch specifically received boxes containing everything but the game. Whoops. Yeah, all the toys are in there. Yeah, all the toys are in there. The game case is in there. Just, nothing inside. It does seem to be limited to Best Buy as of us recording here. They're getting replacement through the retailer. Best Buy has been seemingly honoring it, swap outs for this as well. But it seems to only be hitting Best Buy, which is odd. But apparently somebody's getting fired because they forgot to include the game. Last bit of news before we get on to my favorite segment. Xbox announced today, once again, as we're recording this on the 18th, there's 4 new Xbox 360 games are enhanced for the Xbox One X. And just in time for Halloween, Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2 are now Xbox One enhanced, as well as such great classics as Portal, and the rest of the orange box are all available there, Xbox One enhanced. That's pretty exciting. I love all of these games, actually. So it's very cool to see them doing this. And I unfortunately don't have an Xbox One X, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot for me, but it's exciting to see Microsoft continue their stance on trying to make classic games, keeping them revitalized, keeping them fresh, keeping them alive in everyone's memories, and not making them simply a dusty collector's item there too. So, Q, your thoughts? Any excitement here on these announcements today?
Definitely on Left 4 Dead. I feel like it's not something that I'm going to pick up right now because I'm on blackout. I'm blacking out. That sounds awful.
You're blacking out?
I'll be playing Blackout Hardcore, and for a couple months, and then there's a lot of games coming out now. But I feel like once I hit that point where I'm like, I don't know, that lapse in like publishing games coming out, I feel like Left 4 Dead is something that I could convince people to jump into with me and just have fun. And maybe I won't play for 20 hours, but I could play, 10 hours, and I think that's worth it for sure. I'm excited. I mean, it's if they feel like these upgrades are worth making it happen, it means that they have either the surplus of manpower or energy or money to get it done, or they're seeing that there's an opportunity here to make money. So I feel like keep it coming. I mean, as long as it doesn't hurt development of other stuff, why not? So.
Fair enough. Kyle, your thoughts? Any excitement here?
Yes and no. These are games that I enjoyed, that I played back on the original 360. I don't know that I'm going to play them again at any time soon, at least. But I do think I keep waiting for that day. Maybe it'll happen at XO18, where Valve comes back on stage and announces another game for Xbox. Whether it be a new Left 4 Dead, a new something. I feel like that could potentially happen with all the very excellent moves Microsoft has been making. I'm not saying they're going to buy Valve. I know Coach implied that with Obsidian, maybe they're looking to get someone big. I don't think they're going to buy Valve, but I could see them making a move where they're working with Valve and, they've talked about how they're getting back into software development. Maybe that's one of the ways they're going to.
Half-Life 3 world premiere, Xbox console exclusive.
Kyle just confirmed it. Half-Life 3 confirmed. There you have.
Oh, that's not Left 4 Dead 3. Come on, you don't.
PSVG reporting it first. Half-Life 3 confirmed. There you go.
It's the episodes, so the third one's already come out. It's the episodes. It's fine. It's good.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, so that wraps up the news of the week. So it's time to jump into that segment that gets the vein pumping in my forehead. That's right, everyone. It's time for Kevin Hates Everything.
He used to enjoy games like Mario and Zelda. He used to like Bethesda and the New England Patriots. He used to love to visit the Nintendo Shack. But now, Kevin hates everything.
So, if you recall, we had this conversation a little while ago. It's spewed up quite a bit in our Discord, a lot the other day, and it continues to still be a topic people are talking about now. Rockstar head writer for Red Dead Redemption 2 said they were working 100-hour weeks regularly, as well as some did anonymous sources. But now Rockstar decided to lift its social media ban and telling employees that they were no longer banned from speaking about their work experience on Twitter and Facebook. So this move has led to a number of current staff sharing mostly positive stories from their time at Rockstar. Keith Thorburn, who works in the music department, said that this was the most rewarding and least stressful projects he's worked on, meaning Red Dead Redemption 2. He says he knows what Epic Crunch feels like, but this was managed in a way that he left, that project feeling happy and healthy. But there's mostly a positive comment saying they didn't work anywhere near 100-hour weeks, but they certainly did sometimes work 60 hours, 50 hours, but they're always compensated with overtime. They were never forced to do so. So yeah, it seems like as expected, this is possibly, not to steal from Donald Trump, fake news originally. Where I know this happens, and we talked about it a lot in the Discord, that there are certain jobs that certain times of the year and certain projects you do, things happen. We gave our own experiences, not that mine is the same as what these people would go through, but having worked at Best Buy for years and years and years as general manager, your salary. So you work 10 hours a week, you're paid the same. You work 110 hours a week, you're paid the same. My life for almost 10 years was my family came to expect that come November 1st, you didn't see daddy much at all until mid to end of January. I'd be working crazy hours. I didn't get holidays off. Thanksgiving was a non-thing for me because I'd have to be at my store for midnight. So I didn't get to eat Thanksgiving dinner with everybody else. I'd try and sleep. I'd work 12 to 16 hours on Black Friday. You worked Christmas Eve. You worked all this stuff. So I certainly put in those hours and wasn't compensated for them. So if they were being compensated for overtime, that's a great thing. And this is kind of where I poked fun of Donnie a little bit, because Donnie had said, well, if you don't like it, just walk away from it. Well, people have responsibilities there, Donnie. Families, mortgages, as Emily had mentioned previously, health insurance. You can't just walk away a lot of times. Plus, if it's something you've studied for and trained your entire life in a trade such as game design or music composition or writing, you don't walk away from these opportunities. You take it very serious, and it just happens. Work, especially in the United States, sometimes, let's be honest, sucks. You work crazy amount of hours most of the time for thankless, jobs or work being done, and it just unfortunately is part of life here. Is it right? No, I don't think it is. But is it something that we unfortunately have come to deal with? Sadly, yes, it absolutely is. We got to do what we got to do to stay afloat. And if it's something we're truly passionate about, you got to imagine a lot of game developers, grew up in the 70s or 80s playing video games in the arcade, or there were 90s kids and 2000s kids in the heyday of gaming that like, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and they sought out these dreams of theirs to do this job. It's not working at a 7-Eleven, it's not working at Dunkin' Donuts. There's nothing wrong with those jobs, but that's not something most people dream of doing. Game design is something kids and people do in fact dream of doing. So it's something that there's perks that come with a job, and there's stuff that is not so great that comes with a job, as it does in any job. So to think that it's ridiculous or that it's the norm that every single week you're working 100 plus hours, if that happened, that's something we need to talk about. That's a serious conversation. That 100% cannot be happening anywhere. But it's not. There are crunch times. You got to get games done on deadlines. It's all hands on deck. It happens. It's not going to be the beginning of the project. It's not in the middle of the project. It's as you get towards the end, as they call it, crunch time in the industry. It happens. If you don't like it, you can find another work, but it's not something you can just give up and walk away from. It's something you have to deal with whether you like it or not, because it's part of that job. Q, your thoughts?
I mean, I agree, man. Like, for example, like for my job, we had our annual conference down in Florida. I was working like basically 12-hour days, and you show up at 6 a.m. and you're leaving at like 6, 7 p.m. And at that point, it's all hands on deck. Everyone's working their butt off, like you don't want to be the guy that starts complaining because everyone else is working really hard. So who are you complaining to? Like, everyone is putting the same hours you are. It sucks that, like you talk to people in other countries and they maybe the work culture there is different, where you're working less hours or you're working the same amount of hours and you get more benefits or whatever. But I feel like, there are times when you got to put all hands on deck, and that's absolutely right. If you're trying to make it into an industry, if you're trying to break into an industry, or if this is your dream, there are times in your career where you'll have to make sacrifices for it. If you quantify all the hours I've been on the road, even if it's not been like 100% working time, but I've been on the road for a long time. I mean, right. You're probably talking about like 80-hour weeks just because I'm not home. I'm not home. I'm not going to bed in my bed. I'm not eating at my table. I'm not watching my TV. I'm not playing.
Your airports, all that.
Exactly. I'm flying red eyes. It sucks, but I feel like I'm in a place where like this job is not only what I want to do, but it's also a place where I have to show my worth. That way, down the road, I can have a better say or greater say in my future, right, or in my future, career, or whatever. And it's not always easy to just be like, well, if you don't like it, walk away from it. I get it. There is always that freedom. We don't live in a slave state where you are forced, where you're no one's forcing you to show up at work. I get it, but everybody does have responsibilities, right? If I walk out of my job tomorrow, I don't know if we can afford to live where we live, So I empathize with people that like have to work crazy hours. I work at GameStop for a season, and I'm surprised they trust you as general manager at Best Buy. I mean, I'm just kidding. But no, I work at GameStop over Black Friday, and my manager had no pay for my hours. He's like, I have to be here longer than you do. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. You have to work Black Friday. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to be here the whole week. So
and at salary, sir, you're not paid extra for doing it. Like, it's the same pay in the middle of July when nobody's at Best Buy or GameStop as it is during the holiday crunch. It's like, nope, part of the deal.
Nah, I get it. So I mean, it's cool, but it's cool to see that the reaction from most at Rockstar has been positive, because that's good. If you're gonna make people work hard, it's good that you have an environment where people feel like they're taken care of, or at least the quality of their work environment is such that they're willing to put in the extra time happily, because they believe in what they're building, they believe in what they're putting together, and they're excited to be in that culture and in that work environment. And that's great. I'm always happy to see productive, positive work environments, because I feel like that's definitely not always a given. That's never a given.
Agreed. So there you have it. The villain in Life is Strange Season 3 is 100-hour work weeks. Forget racism. The new antagonist is 100-hour work weeks. Kyle, you've been quiet. I want to see if you're going to fight Q and I on this. What are your thoughts, sir?
I'm probably not going to fight as much, just because we've been podcasting for a while. So here's what I will say from what I've read from all of this. And again, I really encourage people to join the Discord. We have very healthy conversations about these things in there, and you can definitely see where people sit on things. I think that probably what happened is back in like 2010, there was a report that came out that working at Rockstar sucked. And it kind of sounds like, from what people have been using as the rebuttals, is that it did suck in 2010. It was bad. It was really bad. But things have gotten much better since then. But because Rockstar doesn't let their employees talk about things, that when Hauser came out and talked about 100-hour work weeks again, people were like, oh, it still sucks. So I think that's a little bit of what happened in this scenario, is that there was a report that was pretty well confirmed by people that, yeah, it's not great to work here. Things improve, but because of how secretive Rockstar is, nobody knew. And then Hauser's here like, oh, yeah, we're busting 100-hour weeks. And people are like, man, it still must really suck to work at Rockstar. So I think in some ways they're kind of to blame themselves, because they don't let their employees say anything very often. They're like, that is a company that talk about almost nothing ever leaking. You really don't know much about what's going on there. Like, it is they're very secretive. And granted, maybe journalists got a little overblown like they do these days. They took things and pushed them maybe a little further than what they meant.
Right.
They probably didn't clarify as much as they could have before they went and ran with things, because people need clicks and people need that ad revenue and people need to make money. Like, I'm not saying that they should have run with the story with the way that they did, but I think that, a little bit of transparency before this would have probably gone a long way in helping them. I posed the question in the Discord, is ever working a 100-hour week okay? Like, and I think if you started that question, my answer to that is always no. Like, that's not okay. And I understand they're passionate, they're whatever, fine. I understand that. But that purely is not healthy. It just isn't. That is not good for you. It is not good for your body. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your family. It's not good for your relationships. One of those things matters to you, or is going to impact you in some way, shape, or form. If you don't have a family, or if you don't have something like that, like, you have mental health and you have regular health and you have all these things, like, that's not going to be good for you. I understand life gets busy sometime. I understand that we have a strong work ethic and that we really want to, like, look at, we, in the United States, it seems like we very much focus on, we show someone is committed and passionate about what they do by how many hours they put in, not by the quality of the work that they produce. And I think for me, that's something that's very frustrating. Every job I've ever had, I have had times that I've worked way over 40 hours a week. I get it. Those times happen sometimes. But I think the fact that they even threw that 100-hour mark out there was meant to try to impress us, was meant to try to make us think about how awesome this game must be, because look how many hours they're working on it. That must be really impressive. And that, I think, is the thing for me that's the saddest about this, is that it seems like that number was thrown out to show the commitment level and dedication, and that the quality of this product must be good because of the number of hours we put in, not because of the talent, skill, and work level of the people who are putting in 40, 45, 50-hour weeks, which is more reasonable, definitely. Those people are really good, and because of that and their regular work ethic and the regular things that they're doing, they've put out a really fabulous game in a week. So that, for me, I guess, is just kind of my thoughts on it.
I think my rebuttal, sorry, Kevin, my rebuttal to your rebuttal is that family is a fascist imperialist construct that is created by Hallmark to bound us in chains and keep us from quitting our jobs. I'm just done, Kevin. You can take it from me.
See, and what I got from it is Donnie, Kyle says I don't have to work 100 hours a week on PSVG anymore, so
no, you don't.
I'm doing that.
You don't.
And the second part is Kyle now says, journalists, you need to tell the whole truth, tell the whole story clear, and if you don't like it, you should just quit and leave now. Just quit.
Just quit. Just walk away.
Just walk away. Stop being a journalist. If you can't do it right, just stop being a journalist. Just walk away. Walk away.
Can't handle the fake news, get away from the game.
So, I mean, all three of us are kind of in agreement here, I think, for the most part, and all the stuff converse over here. So basically, I I can't be that mad because you guys agree with me. You didn't fight me on it. So let's just say we're right. All three of us are right. And Donnie, you're very, very wrong, as per usual. So that's fine. That wraps up the show for this evening, though, guys. So before we do, we want to tell you guys where you can connect with us, what we're up to, plug a few things. So, Q, where can people find you and link up with you, sir?
Man, I am so missing in action lately. But if you want to play some Blackout or some COD, any COD, Black Ops 4, Loborican on Xbox, just add me, send me a message. Actually, add me first. I think I have my messages blocked because I get so much hate messaging from people that pwn on Siege. I'm just kidding. But yeah, just add me or shoot me. Actually, join the Discord and just join the chat there. Yeah, I'm also Loborican on the Discord. It's a great community. I wish I had more time for it. I feel like I'm always I feel like a discussion topic has been going on for like 2 hours. By the time I get there, I'm like, oh, it's already passed. You know,
it's because you're working 100-hour work weeks. No, it's fair,
man. Well, you know, according to Donnie, I can just quit whenever I want.
Yes,
so
just walk away. Walk away and play Call of Duty.
Just quit, man. Play Call of Duty.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I just find me on Xbox and on the Discord. That's where I am nowadays.
Perfect. And as Q mentioned, the Discord there too. Definitely join them. Head over to psvg.blog. You can join the Discord right there. And we do have looking for match setups now, so you can actually do at COD, and it will notify everybody who has Blackout that, hey, I'm looking for somebody to play with. And that way you can link up and find people to play with even quicker and better than ever. We have a Forza, Call of Duty, Fortnite, there's a couple different other games we have that set up for. So come join us, hang out, to play with us. Kyle, where can people find you and what you're up to?
I will plug this little show I do. It's called Bored with Video Games. You can find us on Twitter at BoredWithVG, also on Instagram at that. And, we release episodes every week. Every Thursday, those are going to hit your PSVG feed. And hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time you listen to this episode, or within a week of you listening to this episode, also its own independent feed as well. So Josh and I talk about board games. We talk about video games, and we like it a lot. We'd love if you gave us a listen.
Awesome. So that's it. You want to link up with me? Find me at PSVG Kevin, and I can share with you my PSN name, Xbox name, Switch code, whatever you want to do, and I will play games with you. As we mentioned, the website is psvg.blog to find all the news, articles, and podcast feeds there. Twitch.tv/PSVG if you want to watch what we're streaming when we can stream there live. And then lastly, once again, if you'd like to support us and the whole network there, as well as everybody else and make us better, the Sean Capri collection of podcasts, Mark Carabin and Warp Whistle Gaming, and then the fellas over at Nintendo Nostalgia, please head over to patreon.com/makeusbetter. We do appreciate it, but more importantly than anything, hey, we just appreciate you tuning in, listening, and hopefully telling a friend. But last, but certainly not least, we ask, as always, that you never stop gaming.